All right, obviously, big win tonight. Very excited for our guys. We have recruits come on the field. It was, I don't know, 40 minutes for the game, 30 minutes for the game. I was able to point our student section. I want to make sure I thank them. Our student section was filled early before games. These are the things that differentiate us in recruiting. So I want to thank the students. Great crowd tonight. Thank everyone who came, and especially thank all the people who stayed to the end. One of the key things in a game like that, besides getting the shutout, I think the shutout was very important for us. I think it's the first time since when?
2009.
2009. And we're not that the history of it matters to us, but just, we played a lot of players. I think every player that could play got in the game. Maybe one or two didn't. I don't know. But we were able to get a lot of players in the game, a lot of players who work hard, who sacrifice. And so to play them all and still continue to play to the standard and have the shutout was a really exciting moment for us. Proud of the guys, proud of their effort this week. They practiced hard and they went out and overcame some early self-inflicted wounds and played the game pretty clean. So proud of that. Excellent to see Jacory, the job he and his punt return unit did. Having 87 yards. I think Keith was just telling me it's more than the season total the last couple of years. We knew we were going to have good opportunity at that, but it's all these things mixed together, right? It's the defense. It's the defense, having good field position so that we can be aggressive on the punt returns. It's guys holding guys up. It's having guys like Derek Branch and Vince Genatone who do great jobs on those teams. Young guys like Kamir Prescott who step up. So really proud of all that. And finally, happy for Luke Lindemeyer. At the very end, he proposed to his girlfriend, who I'm so embarrassed I don't know her name, but she's a lovely young lady, and she's a Scarlet, and he proposed, and she said yes. So excited for him. So with that, I'll answer all your guys' questions.
I know there's probably things you can look on the film and quibble about, but was that about as complete a performance as you've had since you've been here, and how gratifying is it to have it after a week where you wanted to fix some things?
Yeah, I thought we played pretty well last week. Really, it's most of the, it wasn't good enough. It wasn't. I'm always going to look for better. I'm going to say, look at this, it's not good enough, but it's still. We were a pretty good football team last week. I think I'll watch the tape and just, I'll just try to do the same thing I did last week. Just look at the things that were good, look at the things that were bad. Obviously, first and goal inside the 5 and to not get it in is not good enough. To fumble the ball on the goal line is not good enough. But at the same time, we also came back with sort of a what's next attitude. I hated the fact that they were able to drive the ball before the half and have a chance at a field goal. I hated the fact they were able to drive the ball and start the second half. But credit to our guys. They came off and they blocked it. I love the intensity of our guys on the sideline, the Bufords demanding that we block it. So I'm sure there's going to be lots and lots and lots of things. And we're not here to comment on the overall. We're here to just keep fixing all the things that we see, and different things will come up. So, but I think a lot of in general, all three sides put it together. So pleased with that.
Dylan seemed super comfortable tonight. 24 of 31 is pretty strong. How does this rank amongst other performances he's had under you?
Yeah, I don't think anyone gave him nearly enough. I told the TV guys before the game, I said, yeah, Dylan's done a good job of blocking out the noise. A lot of guys were talking about his performance last week, not pushing. They almost, he completed 30. I think he was one of the only quarterbacks in the country who completed 33 passes last week. He completed his last 9 last week and first 11 this week, or vice versa. Last 11 last week and first 9 this week. I think he was superb last week. I thought early on, to be quite honest, his feet were a little bit out of whack. I thought Data did a good job of getting him in phase, and I thought he was in command. Anytime we can throw the ball this many times and not have to worry about throwing it in interceptions, I think we feel really good about it. I think everyone has to get used to the fact that when Dylan plays really well, I don't want to see a ton of wow plays. I don't want to see him run around throwing the ball sideways. I want to see him play quarterback. And what Dylan's doing is he's playing quarterback. He's elite before the snap. And I just hope everyone, across the country appreciates it the way I know most of you guys do. He's just getting us in the right play, making the right check. There's not a lot of things that are off. And most of playing quarterback happens actually before the snap. And I think he's just so elevated in that regard. So we're able to get to a lot of things. There's a lot of plays, I'm sure, when he looks at it, he'll say, I need to do this better, that better. But I just think he's ascending and getting better and better every week.
And Matt, you played a lot of defensive guys in this game, but early Cade Petshot came in and produced a lift for you. Got a safety. I don't want to play before. What did you see out of him, and how bright is his future moving ahead now?
Yeah, I was disappointed we didn't play Cade more last week. kind of the way we have it stacked is like it's like Cam, Williams, and Cade at the same position, and they're all three really good players, and so it's just sort of the position, right? Like they all kind of fit that. So just trying to move guys around, like Cam Lenhart played nose tackle tonight at one point, like he was in our 5-down package. I think Cade's an excellent player. I think he makes big plays. He plays really hard. The more he plays, the better he'll get. But if I may, Cam was one of our captains tonight. Cam elected to have surgery this week. He went Tuesday afternoon for surgery. He elected to practice Tuesday morning, which means he couldn't eat after midnight. So he went out to a full padded practice, which everyone acts like like our practices are crazy. Our players, I'm saying, they come out like, oh coach, we got to do what today? Cam walked out there, no food in his stomach, no water. Had a little bit of water, some Gatorade, then couldn't have anything after that. He practiced, had surgery, and practiced the next day. So, when people ask me about year 3, coach, it has nothing to do with me. It's about guys like Cam, and so we're just have to continue to find ways, Sean, to get Cam and Williams and Cade on the field. And I think that's one of the things that Terry did a great job of this week, as did John. Like we had a lot more packages to play different guys in as we get more and more comfortable. And I think that's excellent. Like we had a lot more packages where Donnie went in and we played with 3 corners. So really, really good, nice job by the defensive staff, I thought, to make sure that we were just rotating guys without just rotating them, but giving guys roles. Gabe Moore played his first football for us tonight, and it looked like out there, this is a guy that he didn't have his first full practice until Tuesday of this week, and it looked like he played pretty well too. So, looking forward to those guys just continuing to ascend and improve.
What kind of surgery?
His hand done. I don't know. I don't know the exact something that he was able to play through, but had some sort of injury to his thumb and his hand. Played with a cast tonight.
How much can it help guys' confidence when it is a night of first for a lot of things, like Quinn Clark's first touchdown, Makai's first touchdown? Yeah, a lot of guys did things for the first time, and what that can do for them going forward.
Yeah, well, Quinn, for me, I think that's a special Husker moment there. Obviously, his father, great player here, passed away. I'll never forget when we offered him. Coop and I were in the end zone at a camp, and he just kept running around. I was like, Vershawn and Damon and a bunch of guys that kept sending me his tape. And I said, we'll get him to camp. He came to camp, and he's running around, this big athlete. I remember walking up finally and being like, because we were in Memorial. We were in the north end of Memorial. I said, well, where's your mom? He said, she's right there. Ironically enough, she was standing there. I said, walk over here. And we offered him a scholarship in the end zone at Memorial Stadium. And, just think about, his father not being there, but probably looking down on him in a place that meant a lot to him. And so, he scored that touchdown. Me, like I'm the most like non-seller. I yelled at Dane, like, go get that ball, and we got it for him. And Quinn's a guy that's coming on. Makai, I knew Makai was coming. I was really proud of Makai. Like, the only time, him and I are both from PA, so we talk a lot of trash to each other. The only thing he said to me all night was, hey, on kickoff, he's like, you want me to make another tackle on kickoff? Because he made a tackle on kickoff. So a lot of those guys are really good players. Their time is coming. My challenge to the guys, both before the game and at halftime, was, to finish the game and have a killer instinct and not let people lie around, and I thought we did that. We were in there. I called everyone up, and even Marquise was like, we've never done this before. We've never had a 68-0. And again, that's not an FCS game. That's a group of 5 team, and so happy for them that they did that. Just won't. At the end of the year, we won't be talking about this game. So we did it. Now we got to move on.
Matt, what did you make of Emmett's performance tonight? And following the fumble, what did you say to him, and how did you see him respond?
Yeah, I didn't say anything to Emmett after he fumbled. Just said, hey, put the next back in. You're not going to fumble and play the next, go right back in. And so, but I thought we've, great job with Donnie and Danny continuing to go to it. We ran like the fake speed sweep, inside zone slice play that hit consistently. So we kept going back to it. I thought Emmett was excellent there. One of the things I loved about what Emmett did tonight that I saw, I don't like to comment too much on the football until I watch the tape, but most times when he breaks out, he looks to cut it back. And tonight you saw him trust his long speed and make long runs. And to me, that's his training. And I think I've said to you guys, like, hey, I see a different back during training camp. And I think you saw a little bit of that tonight. He fumbled. We put the other guys in. As the ball got down near the goal line, I said, hey, put him back in. Like, he just want to make sure he knows, like, we can't do that. And it's not the result. It's, we go to 5 points of ball security. We go to the X factor, Again, I couldn't see how exactly it happened, but the ball was, the ball was in his left arm. He started left, cut the ball back right. We want to go to 5 points and score. He didn't. Ball came out. But to his point, I was like, hey, what's next? Get back in there. And then after he scored later, he said, Coach, what's next? So when the players start saying the things like that, then they're bought into it. The bad things are going to happen. How do you overcome adversity?
What did you see from TJ Lateef, his composure in his first appearance?
Yeah, I was, one thing about Dana, he's not going to put him in there and just hand the ball off. He knows he needs to play. And I thought he did a nice job. He found some guys on the over routes. Great catch by Keelan Smith. We've never truly seen like him live. So like the one run he had, I knew he could run, but like he ran. That was a dynamic play. Did a nice job pulling the ball again later, which those aren't designed quarterback reads. That's a read if you need to, and it was great to see him do that. So I think I said a couple times, he's not someone who gets too overwhelmed by the moment. Like he's kind of excited to go back in there. We started challenging him 2 weeks ago. Like, hey, if something happens, you have to go in and play, and you're struggling to call the play calls because you're not prepared. A lot of people could be looking at you, and he's answered that. He's in there early. He's working hard. I thought he was poised. I thought he did a really nice job, and so he'll add the dynamic element of being able to run the football. While at the still time, you saw him push the ball down the field. You saw him throw touch passes, and I think it shows how much we trust him that we allowed him to do that in a game like that, where obviously a shutout, specifically to me, a shutout was important to us because I believe in the defense having that. The fact that we let him throw it so much. Go ahead, Mitch. I'm sorry, I didn't want to cut you off.
I just wondered, and maybe you don't even know this at this point, but with TJ, is it 4-game plan, or do you expect that he'll play whenever you need him?
TJ's going to play as needed. Yeah, he's our backup.
Hey, Coach, on Monday you talked about the fans meeting their wives or husbands here at games. Did you know that Luke was going to propose after the game?
Oh yeah. He had asked. He had asked ahead of time. I mean, not asked. Like, hey, do you care if I do this after the game? He didn't ask for my permission. I think he probably asked her dad that. Yeah. So I mean, I think it was really, really important for me. I didn't want to think about that. I wanted to think about the game. But once the game was in hand, I think it was really important for me that his teammates were there. Luke's a devout Christian, and he's someone who's openly shares his faith, and he's someone who rallies teammates of all ages and all places and all ethnicities and diversity. I mean, he just is there for everybody, and he's behind them all. So just to see the joy on everyone's face, to see him, I think that was really, really cool. I think it's one of the great stories of this era of Husker football. Here's this kid who's a walk-on that's probably making a bigger impact off the field than he is on the field. But I think tonight he made a one-hand catch with him. I couldn't tell on the far side. One-hand catch, scored a touchdown. So I was like, if she's ever going to say yes, she will tonight. So, but no, I'm happy for him. I know he loves her, and beautiful thing.
All good?
Thanks.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.